Look at the weather.
It's beautiful here.
Non-stop rain.
Oh, man, it is a blazer out there.
It's cold and it's shivery.
It is cold.
Really coming down here.
I really enjoy your weather reports.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, we're talking weather in a whole new way. From historical events to what's coming up, plus weather news, science, safety, fun facts, and more.
I like where this is going.
This is Weather Weekly. Weather Weekly with Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey.
It is Weather Weekly, episode 227. Good to be with you. Meteorologist Marcus Bailey from Indianapolis, Indiana, Wish TV. Already well into this month of May here. In fact, closing in on kind of the halfway mark almost. Things really ramping up for the month of May festivities in Indianapolis. Already had the road course race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And now we start approaching the qualifications weekend. And we're getting real close. Next week's podcast, obviously, we'll be able to talk about the race day forecast, which we sure hope is better than last year's, right? When we had some showers and they had to evacuate the stands last year and delayed start to the race. They got all 500 miles in, and it was an incredible race, but it was definitely delayed. We're hoping for some better weather. Not this week. Not this week. We won't have that forecast for the race yet. But we are keeping an eye on it. We do have qualifications coming up this week. It is very busy as things kind of ramp up here across the metro area. We will walk you through that forecast in episode 227, the week ahead for May 12th, 2025. Next on Weather. All right, it is the week ahead for May 12th, 2025. Let's start with the 12th, Monday. No major problems here. I do think we are starting to get to a scenario where we could get enough humidity coming in over the coming days that we'll get what we call diurnal thunderstorms. And all that means is that you've got enough instability around, and really the forcing mechanism is kind of the heat of the afternoon. So when you get to the hottest point of the day, you'll get some of these pop-up storms. We see this very often in the summertime. So, but it can't happen this early in the season for sure. But I think that's where we're going to be the next couple of days. Don't cancel plans. But I do think there is going to be a chance for a few pop-up thunderstorms, at least for the afternoon. Now, that said, I do see a scenario then by the evening hours, as more widespread showers, possibly some thunderstorms come through. Again, I don't necessarily know that everybody's going to get wet, but you're going to see a lot more activity kind of really flaring up by around early to mid-evening, okay? Once we lose the sun and the heat, the showers go away. Very slowly, but they decrease in coverage, and then they just go away, all right? So where these pop up, it's anybody's guess. Because these are going to be just little flare-ups, it's tough to tell. It's also tough to tell because there won't be much movement when these things do fire up. When they flare up, they form, they dump a lot of rain, and then they just kind of they rain themselves out. And there's usually not a lot of movement, but those areas that get those rain, it could rain a lot. Okay, so just something to bear in mind. Now, we'll have highs into the mid-70s. We'll keep with showers and thunderstorms for the early evening hours and just kind of spotty overnight. Overnight lows will fall to the mid-60s, so it's going to be a little bit more mild with mostly cloudy skies. Again, I think we'll do this all over again on Tuesday. There might be a slight chance for a shower early in the morning. But again, I think these are all going to be fueled by the heating of the day. We're going to be warm too. Again, highs near 80. And our chances for thunderstorms will increase the later in the day we get. Tuesday night, showers, maybe a rumble of thunder early. The sun sets. Will dry out. Mostly cloudy skies and lows into the low 60s. Wednesday is... I am going to leave a slight chance of a thunderstorm. But look, I think we probably are going to be dry for much of Wednesday. Maybe kind of the lone, Friday looks okay too. But at least in the middle of the week, the lone day that we're not going to be worrying too much about rain. Highs will be in the low 80s and overnight lows into the mid 60s. All right, Thursday's the day I want you guys to kind of keep an eye on, all right, for several reasons. First, we do have a chance for strong to severe thunderstorms for Thursday. That likely is going to happen in the afternoon. Now, this is going to be a little different than the storms that we expect at any point this week for Monday, for Tuesday, and possibly for Wednesday as well. All right. This is going to be driven by a couple things. One, a very strong push of very warm air coming in from the Gulf. And two, you're going to have a pretty potent cold front that's going to swing through here. And that is going to help trigger this line of thunderstorms, okay? So different than just, your heating of the day pop-up storms here. All modes of severe weather in play. Initial thinking, though, is probably going to be a damaging wind threat mainly, and then the possibility of some larger hail. But look, there might be a little twist in there, and so you get a storm spinning, there's always the threat for a tornado. So that would be on the 15th. By the way, we could be looking at a record high, too. So that's another thing. We're forecasting a high of 89 for the day on Thursday, 89. The record high for the 15th of May in Indianapolis is 88. That was set back in 2001. So it'll be a close call. So again, just be alert Thursday, not only for the high heat, it's going to be muggy too, but thunderstorms, and we'd say anytime afternoon. Okay, anytime afternoon you need to be weather alert. So we'll watch for that. Showers and storms should start to diminish as we get later into your Thursday night. And then I think we just turn partly cloudy overnight with lows falling to around 70. So it's going to be pretty uncomfortable there. Friday, there is a very low chance for a shower storm. It's not going to cool us off much, even with that cold front moving through a high in the mid 80s. Overnight lows into the low 60s. Saturday would be day one of qualifications at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There is a slight chance for some showers and storms and highs into the low 80s. I will say, just looking at some of the model projections, and I'm looking at them right now. There's waves that are going to be coming through here. I do this podcast a little bit early on into the week. And so there is going to be some timing differences, but I will say for Saturday, I don't see a lot of forcing mechanisms. So it may end up being one of those, like I said, diurnal things where it's just the heating of the afternoon, and we might have to have a little bit of luck on our side. And that is not unusual for the middle and end of May. Same thing may apply for race day. Now, we're still way too far out to be focusing in on race day. What I can tell you, you know what? Let's do this. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what we do know about race weekend for the Indianapolis 500, which is coming up Memorial Day weekend. And we'll look at some other extended things as well, okay? That's coming up next here on Weather Weekly. All right, before we get to some of the extended forecasts that I promised, let's do some stats for the month of May here. Precipitation for the month, we're just shy of 3/4 of an inch. That's actually down 0.87. We're pretty close to what we had last year. We had 0.74, so just a few hundredths off. Since the beginning of spring, which is March 1st, 11.51. We're still up almost 2 inches, 1.9 officially. Last year at this time, we had 10.98, so we're kind of equivalent. If I remember correctly, too. Man, my lawn looked awesome last year. Looks really good right now. And then all of a sudden, we just absolutely dried out, I think, in the month of June. So hopefully we won't see that coming up anytime soon. But kind of on the same trajectory as where we were last year. Okay, so those are just some quick stats. All right, let me focus on the let's focus on the trends here. All right, I mentioned that kind of an active pattern. Maybe I didn't mention that. Obviously active this week with several rain chances. From what I can tell, that does not change much going into the week leading up to the Indianapolis 500. Now, what days, what times? Look, we're a week out. It's too far to tell. But you just kind of, when you're over a week out, what you try to do as a meteorologist is just look at trends, okay? And things are trending active. But that doesn't mean that we're going to be just wet all the time. There still will probably be more dry time than wet in any scenario, okay? Now, what I can say, so race weekend, Memorial Day weekend is the 24th, 25th, 26th. What I'm doing right now is I am looking over the ensembles. If you're a longtime podcast listener, you know what those mean. What I can see for that weekend, we usually feel a lot more certain about temperature trends than we do precipitation trends, okay? It's just too far out. I don't see any big significant sway to cold or warm. It looks average. Average is for the end of May. I can look. Let me see the official number. Because right now we're kind of in the low 70 range for average highs. By the end of May, usually you should be around 75, 76 for a high. That would be a nice day. If you can keep it rain-free, I'd take 76 all day for hanging out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for about 8 hours. So we'll see. Like I said, it's tough to gauge precipitation trends. I know that next week will look a little active. But that's about as far as you can really kind of get into it on the ensemble, when you're looking at the ensembles there. I'd love to be able to have a little bit more information that far out, but unfortunately just can't do it. So we'll keep an eye on it. Definitely next podcast, we will have a much clearer picture on what will be happening as we go into race weekend. So bottom line, I know it was just a lot of ifs, ands, or buts there. But again, I don't want to dive in too deep because we just don't know. We just don't know. I do feel pretty confident that we're probably looking at, as of right now, not too cool, but not too hot. Pretty nice. Mid-70s. In our long-range national blood models, when I look at it, again, going into Thursday this week is going to be steam bath. Friday is going to be hot. Weekend's a little better. Sunday, I got near 80 on Saturday. I think I said 83 for our forecast. Mid 70s for highs. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that'd be the 18th, 19th, 20th. And then lower 70s for Wednesday, the 21st. So just lastly, because I always do it, is the Climate Prediction Center. The 8 to 14 day has actually kind of leaning toward a below average look. So slightly below average, which would be on par for what I just said. I mean, lower 70s, you hit that by Wednesday, that's technically below average for that part of the month. So just a couple of degrees. So it doesn't look like it's a super strong signal. Here's the problem, though. Again, this takes you between the dates of the 18th and 24th, above average precipitation. Again, that kind of goes in line with the active pattern that we are likely going to be experiencing for the next week. Okay? So there you go. There you go. I know there's still a lot of questions. we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you updated here as we get a little bit closer. All right. That's all I got for you here on this week's podcast. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, marcus.bailey@wishtv.com. You can also find me on social media, Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram. I think I have a YouTube page too. I'm not really good about updating most of those. Facebook is where I'm most active, and X as well. But I do pay attention to all the other ones if you shoot me a message. Also, you can get our forecast 24 hours a day on our website, wishtv.com/weather, and of course our free Storm Track 8 weather app. Just look up Wish TV Weather in your phone's app store. You can also get my forecast Monday through Friday from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. Locally on Wish TV in Indianapolis, Central Indiana. That's Channel 8. And, of course, you can stream it anywhere on the world at wishtv.com and hit the live stream or watch live button as well. Hope to see you there. While you're here, make sure to check out on any of the great podcasts that we have here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk to you soon, and God bless you.
Discover more from Storm Track 8 Weather and Wish TV. Online at wishtv.com and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook. Plus, be sure to check out more great podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.